So thank you for receiving me tonight. I'm Alexia, I'm French, I live in Rio, and I work for Trello. So it just gives you a background of like how international my life is, and so that's why I'm actually in charge of the international expansion at Trello. I joined Trello a year and a half ago, and I gave a talk in France in September, but so many things have changed since September that my talk is going to be quite different. So the first change, as you may know, Trello just got acquired by Atlassian, and it was officialized last Friday, so it's the first time I'm speaking as an Atlassian employee, so I'm very happy to be doing that. Who knows Trello? Who uses Trello? Okay. Who knows what Trello is? So, probably everybody. This is a Trello board, and this is the basic of our product. A board is a place where you can make things happen, basically. It's very hard for us to have a clear message of what Trello is, because the purpose of Trello is to help people organize themselves for whatever they want. So this is a board we use. We use it at Trello. It's a company overview board. I can send you the links after that, where we have lists and cards. And it's a static board where we will put the information every week. So basically, we have this team list where every week people from, like the leader of the team, will update what the team has been working on during the week on their cards. And so that's a way for the company to know everything that's happening in the company. So we have our investors on the board, and they know what's happening, and that's a nice way of tracking what's happening. We also have projects we are working on. We have the bravo to someone that did something exceptional, etc. Just to show you quickly, that's another board. That's a dynamic board. That's to prepare your vacation in Hawaii or wherever you want. And we are using the Canva method, which is to do, doing, done. And this process where you can drag a card from one list and drop it in another. So I'm just like, I know you're familiar with Trello. A lot of people, when I say I work at Trello, are like, oh, I use Trello, but probably my boards are not good. There is no good boards. Like, all boards are good. There is not a right way of using Trello, and that's part of our success. Is that everybody can use Trello for whatever they want. So I've shown you dynamic boards, statics boards. We have this page called Trello Inspiration that I recommend you go to. And you have basically boards for everything. So every single thing you could think of, you have boards for that. And that's just examples, and we call it inspiration because we don't want people to just think it's a template. We don't like templates. What's good about Trello is that it's very flexible. So today I'm going to talk about the product and how we became successful and some tips about people that are building products. And I'll talk also about our global expansion. So just to give you some figures, we have 19 million users. So Trello, the product Trello comes from the company called Frog Creek, and it was built by interns during a long summer in New York, and so it was built in 2011, launched at the TechCrunch Disrupt event, and in 2015 it became its own company, and in 2014 we had 4 million users, and all organic, because we didn't have marketing, we didn't have sales, we didn't have any, we had I think of 20 people that were devs, only devs. And so in June 2014 we became a company, and we went from 20 people in 2014 to 100 today, well 2,000 today because we built less now. But so up until last week we were to 100 people. We reached 19 million users in that period of time. So it's been a very quick growth. In terms of international, so of our users are English speakers, and the rest is not English speakers. We are available today in 21 languages, and I will explain you how we did that. And we have people in 2 regions that are taking care of local marketing. So about the product, just to give you some context. The 2 co-founders of Trello are the co-founders of Fogcrypt. Fogcrypt is a company that was built for developers in New York. And the idea behind Fogcrypt was that a lot of developers, when they graduate, well, like time now it's different, but when they graduate, most of the time they go to big corporations and have support roles, whereas they could be the one creating new products, they could be the one giving ideas to companies, etc. So the idea of Joel Spolsky and Michael Pryor was to create a company where devs were the most important function, and where they would have all the tools they can, the best tools, the best offices, they have food, and they have everything they need just to be coding the best they can. And so with this company, they've launched 15 projects. 3 of them became big company. 2 of them became big company. One is Stack Exchange that you probably know or use. The other one is Trello. And what they've learned, and most of all the other have failed and don't exist anymore. And so what they've learned is that when you do things, when you test, when you keep on going all the time, you actually produce things, you learn, and you can be successful. One of the big things they have learned when they failed is that you have to be ambitious. And it's not like personal ambition or anything, it's really about your product. And try to be as broad-minded as possible. So they had launched before a product that was to help. They thought that their market was support team, so people that would support clients. And the technology they had was actually very good for a lot of other things, but they were so focused on this market that they lost the company broke, the project broke because it wasn't ambitious. So when they started working on Trello, their main goal, and it's still the same goal, is to have 100 million users. And it's kind of fake numbers they made up, but it's still how ambitious they want to be. And the proof is that in 4 years we now have 90 million users, which is already very, very good. So being ambitious, that's one of the other things. And also, so if you want to build a product that's grow that fast, you have to think of all the barriers you have. So in Trello's case, we won't be, the way Trello works is with network effect. So you were invited by your friend that is going on vacation with you to Hawaii, and you want to, and so it was like, oh, let's organize that on Trello. And then you start using Trello and you love it, and you take it to your job, and you're like, oh, I work out with the marketing team, we don't speak enough, so we should be speaking more, and how can we collaborate with them? Oh, we could use a Trello. And so then people on your marketing team will be like, wow, I love it, can I, plan my wedding on that? And then they will onboard more and more. So that's the network effect on Trello. And so we in the beginning, we analyzed what are our barriers, and making sure that we don't prevent people from being their own advocate. So the main barrier at Trello, the first one was the price. That's why Trello is free. Because if you want to use the network effect, you shouldn't be you should have a free version, because then people can naturally, organically invite other people. So Trello is free. We have a core product that is very good and that is free, and then we have a business class version and an enterprise version that have additional features that can be very useful for companies. So one example, when you work on the free version of Trello, you cannot control, you can invite anyone to your board. So let's say that you are Microsoft and you have thousands of employees, you want to make sure that they don't invite their mom or your competitor on the board. So with Trello Business Class and Enterprise, you can limit the domain names. Then you have SSO, two-factor authentication, a lot of like admin features, etc. So, but the most important thing is that you keep on having a free product that is good and that people love to use and that can help you grow your user base. Just to give you an example, thanks to that strategy, today our sales team's work is basically to look at the numbers of Trello users that have the same domain name and call like, I don't know, let's say Adobe and be like, hey Adobe, did you know that you have 2,000 people using Trello? Oh no, you didn't, so probably you want to know about it and probably you want to have more secure access to Trello, etc. And so then they upgrade to that. So it's for us, it's being free is actually not, is helping us monetize the product. And just like a funny story, when we started and we were free and we didn't even have the paid version, a lot of users were writing to us and saying, can I pay? Because they didn't want the product to end. And so they were like we need to support you, how can we do that? And that's why we created Gold, which is a plan where it's kind of a funny plan where you have access to like customized background and stickers, and now you also have access to power-ups, which is integration with other tools. So, but Gold was created just because people wanted to pay for us, so that was a good sign. So first barrier is the price. The second one was the language. So when you use Trello, a lot of the content is generated by the user, but you still have a lot of content written by us. And so I think today we have 80,000 words generated by Trello, so that's quite a lot of words. And so we had this request a lot, like I would love to use Trello in my company, but I'm French and people don't speak English, and then I cannot so what can I do? So we decided to start the internet. So I'm going to talk about the internationalization process now. So we started with 3 languages: German, Portuguese from Brazil, and Spanish. And we tested, because everything we do, we test, and we see what works and what doesn't. So the first thing we did is the translation by professional translators, and we had Spanish as the zero investments language. So we just translated and did nothing else. So we tested. So Spanish was nothing. We just translate and see what happens. German was okay. We know this German guy can help us send an email in German to our users. We can try to do some contact with the press, and we will do a little bit of buzz, but not a lot. And in Brazil, we did a bigger investment. So they hired me to launch in Brazil. We hired a PR firm, and we did we opened a blog, we opened a Facebook, we opened Twitter accounts, and then I took to the press. We had press conference, we had events, we had a lot of stuff. And it was very interesting because first thing, nothing happened in Spanish. So when you do something, sell it to your business. So just translating in Spanish didn't make anything, nothing, zero. Shock. Second thing, Germany, it was just before summer, and so what we could see is compared to other European countries, Germany kept the same growth, whereas the other country went down during summer. So it was okay, something happened, but it wasn't a huge change. And in Brazil, we doubled the same. So all the marketing we had invested in actually made a difference. And so people started using Trello in Portuguese and in Brazil. And so today, actually, in Brazil, we reached 1 million users. So when we launched a year and a half ago, we had 300,000 users in Brazil, and now we have 1 million users. So that was the first thing. Wow, that's amazing. So we can translate. When we translate, we know that we need to speak about it, otherwise it doesn't make much sense. Another thing that was interesting is that nothing happened in Spain, but in Latin America, in Spanish-speaking country, we could see the same bump that we saw in Brazil. So everything we did in Brazil had actually an effect on other Latin American countries. So we were okay. So we translated with professional translators. We paid for that. Then we invested in marketing. We saw what was working or not. So what can we do now? So what we did is, how can we translate other languages, but with no budgets? Because we are a startup, we don't have any budget. What do we have? We have a lot of users that love our product and they're asking for translation. Could we try to have them translate for us? And so we started this crowdsourcing program. So basically we started with French because I'm French. I could understand what they were writing. I could, I could talk to them in French. So it was very interesting because it was during summer, and for the French people that are in this room, it's July or August, it's kind of hard to have people volunteering for work. And actually, we translated all the platform in one month, so in 4 weeks. So it was, at that time, because it was only one language, I basically just sent an email to the French user saying, do you want to help us translate? 40 people said yes, and then I would exchange with them by email, and we would have a translation platform where they would be translating so we did that, it worked well, translation was good, consistent, it's not perfect, we know about it, but it's still good enough. And so then we launched in France. So we went there, 3 weeks, CEO, VP of marketing, VP of sales, myself, and we did, I think, 60 events in 3 weeks. And so it was 3 long weeks, but it was awesome. We met a lot of people, and we tripled the signups during the period of time. So that was like, okay, we know how to translate, we know how to launch, but what's happening in Brazil now that we have launched? So what we could see is that the signups were going down. So we needed to keep on investing in marketing. And so from that, we started doing some more tests. So how can you grow? What's important for you? So we tried PR, like long-term PR, saying use case, etc. We tried ambassadors. So we have ambassadors in France. We tried PR and ambassadors in France. And so they do user meetups, they write in French, they do several things. And then in Brazil, we hired someone, a consultant that could do marketing, so content marketing. So she's been doing co-marketing that works very, very well in Brazil. She's been managing all the social media. She's been doing all those things. And then we compared France and in Brazil, how is the growth doing? And it was amazing, because in Brazil we were going up. So we were like, okay, so what works is actually to have a content marketing manager and have her been working and educating people about follow and doing some local content and doing a lot of marketing. So today we have around 1 marketing per month with different startups. So recently there were like the 2016 best startups in Brazil, like the 50 best startups, and I think we've partnered with like 15 or 20 of them. So we've been integrating with the people that like matters in the ecosystem, and that helped us have repercussion on a lot of media. So Tecmundo, Estadão, and like several local media talk about us organically. Whereas in France, when we were trying to push some PR, it didn't work because the journalists didn't know about the product, the ecosystem didn't necessarily knew about the product, so we could see the difference in that. So basically what we had learned, now we know how to translate, launch and grow. But we don't make money yet internationally. So what we're trying to do now, like we make money because I think 50% of our revenue comes from outside of the US, but we don't have better growth in the countries where we have invested marketing. So right now we're figuring that out, how can we monetize better. So you have to think that we have only available in USD, credit cards, and with one price that's the same for the US. So right now we're looking at, should we localize payments, should we localize price, should we, and we're trying to look at that and try to. Then just to come back on the translation part, what we did for French, it was funny, my CEO came to me and was like, well, Alexia, you speak several languages, but we are already available in all those languages. So any new language would be a very big challenge for you. So what you could do is just pick up as many languages as you want and try to have it translated. So we started a program to translate 16 languages at the same time by processors. And it was amazing, like I loved it. So what did we do? First, when you look at the market and try to understand where to invest and what, where to go, you have two ways of looking at it. Either looking at like the markets and how easy it is to go there, or also looking at your own users and being like, okay, where are you coming from? So what I did is that I took, because it was about the language, I took the option of looking at our users and looked at their browser language preference and made a list of 25 languages and then started working on the translation process. So to have a good translation, you need to have coherence and consistency. And for that, you need a glossary. So how would I have a glossary about Trello in Chinese? Like, I don't speak Chinese, what did I do? So what I did is that I took this list of languages and reached out to people that had already written about Trello. Because for me, it was a signal that like Trello was already a thing locally. So thanks to Google Translate, I was able to Google what is Trello in Chinese and Japanese and all those languages, and reach out to those bloggers and have those bloggers make the glossary for us. Because we have some very specific vocabulary, like a board, a card. Those words are very hard to translate. So we wanted to have people that were already using our product translating that. After I created the glossary, I contacted the 2,000 most active users per language and asked them if they wanted to help us translate. And so for 16 languages, we had 500 people translating. What they did was, so first with French, I was talking with the crowdsourcers by email. But with 500 people, it would have been a nightmare. So what did I do? I created Trello boards, because that's what I do. and so I had a board per language, and on each board, you will have all the onboarding process for the crowdsourcers and all the steps that they would need to do if they wanted to be a crowdsourcer. And then I would just ask them to give me their Trello username and the Transifex username, which is the platform, the translation platform. And then I would just let them do it. And it was very, very interesting because first you could see cultural differences. So literally, the Italians were the most talkative one. You could almost see the hands. The Dutch people, they would never speak. Like they would just speak in English to me to ask one question and that was it. And so you could see, the difference between languages, you could see the difference between culture, and you could see the interaction between the crowdsourcers. And it was amazing. Because approximately we had between 30 and 50 people per language translating, and they translated everything in 4 months. So that was and for me it was just a side project because I just had to answer their questions. I think I've allocated 1 day per week during 4 months to the project, but that was it because they were doing it. We've had very good translation in terms of understanding the product. When you look at Trello, you have a lot of jokes, you have a lot of reference to taco or mascots, you have all those things that are very hard to translate. But because they were our users, they knew what it meant. And they help us translate that experience. The consistency, what we did is that we picked up 3 reviewers for each language, and they would go from all the streams, and they would review the product. And so then we launched in all those languages. And so when we launched, nothing changed because we hadn't invested in all those countries. But what we can see today, so we launched back in April, and what we can see today is that in some countries, in some languages, we are growing. like recently I was looking, I think in December we had 100,000 people speaking Spanish, speaking Chinese. So that's something we wouldn't have been doing without this language. So it's when you invest in international, it's a long-term project, but it can be super rewarding. I guess that's it for now. Like I could speak for hours. Just one more thing. One thing about Trello is that we are a remote company, so it's hard to. Today it's different, but we used to be 50% of the company used to work from home. So that's why I actually live in Rio. There is no like strategic thing around being in Rio. So we live, I think, from west to east, from Hawaii to Sweden, and from Canada, North Falkland, like a random, very remote place, back to the southwest is Porto Alegre. And so we do a lot of we have a HQ in New York, but we are a remote first company, which means that like if we do an event, like if we do a meeting and 2 people are in the same room in New York, but then you have 3 people that are from other places, we always make sure that it's one computer, one person all the time, so that everybody is equal during the meeting. We have a lot of things to make us feel like we're employees. I work alone in my Santa Teresa flat, but I never feel alone. And I work every day. I want to work, and the hardest part is actually to stop working because they work later than me, so I need to have a stop date. Otherwise, I work late. And so, if you have questions about remote and how to implement that, I can also answer those questions.
Co-marketing and how well it works. Could you give us just take examples?
Yeah. So we always do co-marketing with content. What we do is basically producing some content that, what co-marketing help us do is talk to a new audience and try to gain users from this audience. So let's say, okay, right now I think yesterday we launched a co-marketing with Todos, digitais. So they work with a lot of marketing people, and I think we created content about how to produce good marketing content. And so you will have a lot of tips and blah blah blah, how to be good at marketing content and content marketing. And then we will create a board that will show you a workflow that you can use, and we can give some tips. And then what we do is that we email that to our audience. They email that to their audience, and then we share the leads. So leads are people that have interacted with the content we created. We do ebooks. You can do a lot of different formats. So ebooks, guest posts, interviews, webinars. I guess that's most of it. Events like today. One thing, today is actually a big day for us. We just launched offline mode. So if you have an Android or iOS, you can use Trello offline. And next week we have a big campaign around that. So go on our Facebook page, Trello Brasil, and take the campaign.
Well, excuse me, maybe I had lost spark because my English is not very well. But do you know how was the first 100 users of Trello?
Yeah.
How did they get these users?
So when they created the product, so Trello is from a very, very dev company, and all the products they had created before were very oriented towards dev. Stack is super dev, like all the products. So our founders wanted to see if they could. Like Trello, the purpose of Trello was to be for non-devs, for people in general, devs and non-devs. So when they created the MVP, the first thing they did was testing the product with people that were not developers. So they went to a law firm, and they showed them the product, and let them use it and ask them what they thought about it. And it was very interesting because the people came back with feedback that were very advanced. Like, oh, I like the drag and drop, but then when I do that, it doesn't work. And they were like, wow, you actually understood the product. Like, we didn't explain to you the product and you understood it, and your feedback is very advanced. So that was like the first 20 people. And then what they did is that they launched at TechFrench, and the next day they had 25,000 people at the same time. So making an event. Like I know it's not everybody that can go to TechCrunch this but still like make the news. It's the same thing than launching a new language. Make it the news. Like the funny thing about launching languages, if you ever want to work international, every single people in the world, like every single country in the world think they are the best. So make them feel like they are the best. When we launched in Brazil, we're like, you are the first country we are going to. When we launched in France, we are like, you are the first country our CEO is coming to. And like people love that. Like they really love to feel like they are the one. And so that's like one thing I recommend if you work with international.
No other questions? Okay. How many users did you have? Sorry. How many users did you have before TechCrunch made the report? You don't know.
I don't know. But like, it was like 300. So their whole network. It was very big.
Oh, maybe it wasn't. Okay.
It wasn't even called Trello. Like the name Trello was coined the day before the event. So it was just a prototype.
What does it stand for?
Trello comes from trellis. So trellis is you know that thing that you put hands on? Like it's kind of like a wall that you put like that. It's it's like something you can grow and so the idea is that actually Trello was supposed to be called Planety. But Planety.com was already taken. So they were looking for a name, and the code name for the project was Trellis because that was something you can grow project on. And it's like this story is funny. Our CEO was like looking for a name, and they were testing all those domain names, and they almost got some like a weird domain name, like I think Planety. They almost got Planety or something. And so they were on all those websites to buy domains, and there was a pop-up thing that came up and said, Trello.com is free, do you want to use it? And it was like, yes! And that's how Trello was chosen. Sorry, yes?
Well, I'm studying at home in other and usually I try to, not make this word, but usually I try to manage my things, including my research, using another app that is Microsoft project. And I never used Trello before. Yes. What do you say to me is that the main features that you differentiate?
Okay, so a lot of people see Trello as a project management tool because you can do project management. But the difference between Trello and all of the other project management tools is that Trello is much more flexible. So you would not organize your vacation on Microsoft Planner. You would not organize your your birthday. No, like like all my day-to-day things, like things I need to buy and not to forget, or like, very little things, like did I pay my invoice, my light invoice, or, all those stuff, I put it in Trello. So it's more like the very big difference with all those project management tools is that you can use Trello for everything.
Also, I study at university, and there, what I see as a very big challenge for the researchers there is that they never manage their researches. then we have a very big challenge in impact of Brazil research, and I guess we need something. Okay, and yeah, we need something, but I'm giving you a clue to go there and everywhere because in Brazil specifically because we need something and nobody do nothing, and I guess we need a tool like this, and it's also I'm asking you, please go there.
Okay.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult to live in an environment that we don't have any mentor.
So just to give you some insights, it's very interesting for me to be working with different countries because the problematic that people have in countries are different.
Yes.
So in the US, what they want to do is be as much productive as they can, like productivity. In Brazil, when you say productivity, people look at you like, wow, you want to? But then here, what people really care about is collaboration. And there is this movement of like, how can I collaborate more? How can I communicate more? And so that's part of our marketing strategy. What content do people need? And so if you go on our blog, so it's I think it's blog.follow.com. You have a lot of content of like how to speak, how to make sure that sales and marketing talk together, how to make sure that you know what you are working on, and so we try to bring that content and educate as much as we can because we know that like by understanding the problem of the local people, we will solve it. So in Europe, the huge thing right now is digital transformation. So all the company want to be digital transformation or whatever. And so now we're going there and saying, okay, so what do you need? And Trello can help you being more digital. Trello can help you being more collaborative. Trello can help you being more productive. So I'm happy to share all this content. Yeah, I'll send the. Yeah, interesting.
Since we were talking about collaboration, does the platform allow you to share documents and like code or?
So yeah. So you have unlimited number of documents, but the size of each document is limited. But you can still do quite a lot of things. We are integrated with Google Doc, like all the stuff. We Dropbox, Box, computer.
GitHub.
Which one?
GitHub for developers.
Yeah. So that's like just the annex, like the attachment. But then we have what's called power-ups that are integrations. So we have, I think today we have something like 50 integrations with GitHub. Google. We have one with Google that I love. Is like you can turn a Trello board into a Google slide. So if you need to make a presentation, you just click on the button and you have a slide. And I love it. Yeah. We have, Box, Dropbox, we have MailChimp, we have Evernote, we have a lot of tools. Also, it's our API is open, and we want people to be building power-ups. So if you are working with a company that like really doing something like that, we have also a lot of integrations that are outside of the power-ups. When you are on the free version, you will have access to one power-up per month. When you're on the paid one, it's unlimited.
Okay, besides the events, what were the actions that you did to increase the number of users of Trello here in Brazil?
So all the co-marketing.
All what?
Co-marketing.
All co-marketing. Okay.
So everything that is creating, like really co-marketing in Brazil works very, very well.
I'm really sorry, I don't know what is co-marketing.
It's creating something with another company.
Okay.
So it's like you make a webinar and you invite someone from another company.
Okay, good.
Or those kind of stuff. Events, PR work very well. We even went on TV. Well, it worked well when we launched the big thing. It's very harder to just like doing the, follow the grades every day. The journalists don't really care. So yeah, I think that, and then we have social media. So we do campaigns, and then we do our own campaigns. So when we launched in all those languages, we spoke about it. Next week we will have a carnival campaign. Yeah, because we are offline, you can use Trello everywhere during carnival.
Okay, good.
When we reached 10 million users or 15 million users, we did a lot of campaign. We did a lot of campaigns that were interesting, where we did, you would tweet and win 1 month of gold, which is one of our plans. And we've been trending topic when we were doing that in Brazil. So that's the kind of incentive we've been doing. Try to, one thing is talking to your users, the other thing is trying to recruit new users. So how can you do that? So, well, one thing is co-marketing, because co-marketing is another audience that can still be interested in your product. The other thing is using your own users to be advocating for your product. So when we launched in Brazil, we created a program called Divulgadores with the people that were already users in Brazil. And we asked them to do you want to be a divulgador? And people would join. And then they would just, the thing we asked them to do was to share a Facebook post and a Twitter post. And so we were trending topic the day we launched it, thanks to that. So always think about your user and how, we've seen amazing things at events, for instance. We did an event in São Paulo where we would ask Magazine Luiza, which is they use Trello, and to come and speak about how they use Trello. And the guy talked during 30 minutes on how he onboarded, he went from 1 to 100 people using Trello in his company. And so when someone, a user who is neutral, tells that to an audience, people want to learn about Trello. Another thing we do is that we try to never speak about Trello, the product. We never go to an event and say, oh, look how Trello is great. Because we cannot say that. People need to judge it by themselves. So what we do is that we do talk like that, to talk about the company, to talk about remote work, to talk about collaborations. And the more you bring educational products, the more people want to learn about it.
Okay, I have one question.
Yeah.
Maybe it's full of assumptions, so maybe there be wrong assumptions. But one thing that calls my attention on Trello is that you need to create a habit, so you really need to have attention, so your tool works, right? Usually the tools that have these characters, they're really annoying. Think of LinkedIn. Every day I try to turn off notifications. Every day I get 100 emails from me. In your case, if the guy, he was impacted by your media campaign, he will download the app, he doesn't, see it right, he doesn't keep using, you just abandon it. What do you do in terms, to change that? Do you have some action, if you realize, this guy downloaded the application, is not using this, because no one never, as a user, ever had used.
So that's good, because it means we are not spamming you. We do several things. We have a drip campaign, so when you sign up, I think you receive free emails within a month about how to use Trello, how to do you want to learn about very product oriented. Then we have email newsletter every 2 weeks. So and newsletter is really about content, so about education. So how to be more productive, how to be etc. We have, and then, so something we are working on that is new is depending on the action of the user, we will send specific emails. So you attach the Google link, then we can show you that there is a Google program. So that's the thing. Yeah, exactly. We try to not be spammy, but we try to be very funny. So our approach is we have this taco thing with taco is a Siberian use-key, a special. And we have, and we try to have content that is very light and something we want to delightful. I guess that's probably most of it. We do not have access to the content that is generated by the user, so that's something we are very careful with. That's why it's also hard to do marketing, because basically we have the email address, and the number of words the person created, but like, you know, it doesn't tell you if they are using it for marketing or for debt. So that's the kind of thing where we don't want to have access to that, but like we do it by other means.
I have a question, and this is, as you said, product that's really flexible. So you can take a really complex project, like the person was using Microsoft project, and you can fix it right, and also take care of work and stuff. So you can have thousands and thousands of uses of the tool. Do you research that? Do you know how people are using and what they do with that?
So yeah, so we don't have access to what people are creating. So that's hard when you're a marketer. It's like, okay, what should I tell them? Like when I pitch a new PR firm, I'm like, well, our target is everyone that's doing anything. It's kind of hard, right? So what we did is that we actually surveyed our own users. So we sent some surveys, and like, I think even in the drip campaign, you have a survey now asking basic questions like, where do you come from? Even the language, a lot of people are using their browser in English, even if they are not native English speakers. And also asking, do you use Trello for business or for personal purpose? And it's very interesting because again, it changes in different countries. So in the US, it's more business than personal. In Brazil, it's 50-50. And in France, it was 20% personal and 80% business.
Two questions. You said that you do a lot of remote work. Can you talk about that? And second is, I don't know, there is any tool that, for example, I have this, someone hired me for this job, and I split in 5 tasks. So each task should charge like $100. Can you like say the tool that for my customer, for my client, go to access that task, they have to pay like $100? No, because I'm an engineer and I do a lot of work like, for example, the refurbishment of this building. And instead of charging the whole project, I could charge just the job for the foundation and then the job for the walls, the ceiling, etc. And I could charge, but there is no, I don't know if there is a tool that on the project review that you can pay part of the whole job, you know? Pay for the tasks, but not pay for you, but pay for me.
So,
the third part.
So if you wanna, when you pay for business class, the one that pays get access to like adding the power-ups and all the stuff. If you are added to a board that doesn't have, and you are not a paid user, you will see everything, but you will not be able to add yourself a gift. So your client will be able to see everything, but he won't be able and move things and comment and all the stuff, but he won't be able to use the integration in himself. Okay. And what's your question? Remote work?
I mean, just to understand how you guys do remote work. I mean, I was picturing how you do the job. You know, for example, content marketing. I think it's very difficult to do the content marketing remotely. I mean, you need to do something on the blog and talk about that specific subject. But I mean, the other guys, I don't know, the friends.
So when you work remote, people have misconceptions about remote that are very interesting. So the first thing people say is like, how do you communicate with your coworkers? I think a lot of people think that because they are in the same building, they can talk together. But in the end, they don't. So if your coworker is on another floor, you won't see. Like you will have to schedule a meeting, or it's not because you're in the same building that you will talk together. So what's very good at Trello is that actually we become very communication experts, because we know how valuable it is to be communicating things. So you need to over-communicate. Because if you don't tell your boss that what you are working on, imagine that you are just watching TV. So the more you communicate, the more they know what you are doing, and the more you can actually talk with a lot of people. So, in a company, most of the time you have like marketing team, sales team, dev team, and they don't really speak to each other. In our case, we can really grab each other and speak with everybody much more easily, because we are all equals on that sense. Like we are all only a name on Slack. And so we're not like Alexia from the first floor. We are Alexia on Slack, that's it. And so we are much better at communicating. We also have a lot of rules. So so this rule about like if you are in a meeting, if one person is remote, everybody needs to be on a computer, even if they're in the same room. We try to have like weekly meetings with our team just to check on these people. We have a lot of social interaction, even if it's digital. So we use Slack. Everybody knows Slack? Okay, so when we use Slack, and we have a business channel on Slack, and we have a lot of social channels. So we have this channel that's called Small Humans. That's like everybody posting pictures of their kids. We have this channel like sports and music, and so it's just like to create the social connection and making sure people still create links together. So one thing when you write, especially if you're not native English, which is my case, people can misunderstand what you are saying. So when we start to see that there is like a misunderstanding, we always switch to video. Because most of the time there is actually no problem, and just like, oh, I said that word and it should have been another one. For me, as a non-native, it actually helped me a lot, because I can interact in English much easier because it's written, so people don't hear my accents, and it's much, and I can understand, I can take the time to read what they're saying, and you know, it's much easier than if I had to be talking to a group of like 20 Americans speaking English naturally. Another thing we do is that we have social connections. So every 2 weeks, the HR people, they put a group of 5 people together. Like everybody is grouped in groups, and we have what's called Mr. Roger, which is an American reference, where we would just meet and talk about everything but work. So it's kind of like as having a beer, except that it's remote. And it's on Friday night, so people actually get beers, but it's like they have their computer and they talk about their life and all that. So one of the things when you want to have a remote company is try to maintain the social link, but different. I think that's super important. Yep.
About this remote subject, we have a percentage of how many people are actually in the headquarters and how many people work as a remote. And also, I would like to know, like, in which areas do you guys hire people to work as remote, like, most?
So, first thing, interesting thing, our CEO was against remote at first. He hated that because it was like a bad thing. But what happened is that several devs that were very good had to leave the company because their wife or their husband or their partner were moving to another city. So after like I think 2 or 3 left, and then when the 4th was about to leave, it was like, no, we cannot let you go just because you are going to move somewhere else. Like we work with digital, like we cannot make that happen. And so that person actually moved to Hawaii, which is like very far from there. And so they tested with him. So at first it was awful for him because people would be all in the same room and he would be on the screen and like, you know, like all this bad experience. And then thanks to him, they started to implement all those rules and all those best practice. And today we don't have it, like, we don't have a policy on that. We happen to have 50% of the people working remote, but like we have cases of people that were remote and went working to New York and then left again, and the contrary, people that were in New York and left to. So we have very different things. And in terms of teams, so that's funny. I don't know why, because I'm not a dev, but a lot of devs ask that question, like, is your dev team remote? And that's actually the most remote. So they have people in Europe, they have people in Hawaii, they have people in Brazil, they have people everywhere. And it works because one of the things when you are remote is also giving people a lot of independence and trust them. Like you don't want to have to track that time. Like you don't care about how long they spend on their computer. What you care about is like Are they doing some projects? Are they delivering? And no, it doesn't matter when they're doing it. What matters is that they're doing it. And so the more independence, the best. We've had, like our design team, have been doing some design sprints remotely. So they would like brainstorm together and have some time that would be talking and some time that would be just like doing.
How do you ensure like domain security? Like when you're in a meetings, your computers are generally like safe. How do you ensure that because like you can probably work with your own computer, you got to work computer, all does it work for, and then you get stolen since you're working with your apartment.
So I mean, like I don't have all the details, but I we work for private stuff. I don't know, like dedicated stuff. We have a VPN, so all that is on the VPN and it's secure. And then most of the stuff are like we're a very transparent company, so we don't have that much secrets. And well, if a computer gets stolen, you could have your laptop from your company get stolen too. So we don't really have different policy. What we do though is we make sure that people can work the best they want. So we provide them with a chair, we pay for a standing desk, we pay, and so it has happened also that some people are remote, but they don't like to work from home. So they work from a co-working space, and we pay for that. So we have like all those different aspects.
Do you know if it's what's going to happen with the acquisition, if it's going to stay like that, or if it's going to be all in?
So one thing I can tell is that the CEO of Trello is still going to be working part lesson. So on that, like we still have the founder of the company that's part of it. I don't know for how long this contract is, but it has to be working for at least some years. All of us are still working for Trello. I can't predict the future. Like I have no idea what's going to happen, but like at last, and I'm proud of this because Trello is very complementary from all their other products. So the idea is not to make Trello Jira. They already have Jira, right? The idea is to make Trello and to grow it. So we have this common goal of 100 million users, and we are like on everything we are complementary. The way they sell is different from ours, but we can learn from them. Like I was talking about the ambassador, remember? So Atlassian has a huge ambassador program, and we had 6 ambassadors. So for us, it's like, wow, we can learn from you and we make it with you. So it's right now we're already on like keep on doing what we're doing, and we'll see in the future. But the product itself shouldn't be affected.
But they left you in uncertainty. They didn't tell you what was going to happen.
Nobody knows. How do they know?
When they negotiate, they can make sure that for at least a few years.
So that's one of the things when you grow. Like I joined Trello, I was number 50. We were available in 3 languages, and like we were 50 employees. Today, yesterday, we were 100 employees, available in 21 languages. Like my job has changed so much in 1.5 years. So being independent or being a part of a lesson, our job looks still change. So that's like you cannot really write down, oh, Trello is going to look like that in 1 year. So, because we don't know, like nobody knows. But what we know is that like we have some core values, and we have the product itself is loved by our users from some recent reasons, and that we cannot change it. So we don't want to change, but we want to be better.
Last question. No last question? Okay, so
Yeah, in case it's for like when you work in the company that's not remote, you tend to make friends with some people like who don't work in the department or whatever. Is that happening to you or?
Same thing, and it's funny because one thing we do is every year we used to gather together and spend 3 days together somewhere. And we would be this year I was talking about it. This year was strange because I think 50% of the people that participated in the event were at Trello for less than 6 months. So it was very new. And so we were were the old people 1.5 years. and like we were, well, I'm actually friends with those people. I've met them twice in my life, but I've been working with them every day. And like I feel friends with them. And because I have this, small human channel, I know that she has 2 kids and he has 3 kids, and like they went on vacation and they did that. So we still have this connection, and then you have like natural connection and that you maintain. And with your own team, you meet a lot on digital. So like I really feel like I have friends in all those departments everywhere in the world. No, but you can still create. And I think like the good thing of remote is that you don't have presence. Like because you just see their face. So one of the benefits when you actually meet them in real is that you don't know if they are tall, fat, like you have no idea. And you have some very good surprises. And so like you make like it's a moment of like I'm just your coworker and we share all those values and we do all those things together and we like work on the same project and we love it. And then we meet and then I like then you realize wow maybe I wouldn't have been that open with that person if I had met the person first. So that's actually a very good way of not having prejudice.
Okay guys, so again, if you want to know more about events, please find us on meetup.com. We have beer, so please help us finish the beer. Bothering up. And I'll be around for, so if you want to know more about it, I won't just come talk to me or to one of these. You can say, thank again, Alexia, it was really good.